Well, thank you. First of all, I'm sorry for not being there physically present. I hope to see those of you who are at Hague right now in a few hours. But of course, thank you very much, dear friends and honorable colleagues as well, for the opportunity to actually address this important side event of the OSCE Parliamentary Assembly. So in an era when threats to democracy do not stop at national borders, we must confront one of the most insidious weapons in the authoritarian playbook. And of course, we're talking about the weaponization of transnational repression. So especially through the systematic misuse of Interpol, I must say. Imagine fleeing persecution only to find that the regime you escaped can still reach you, monitoring your movements, harassing your family, freezing your assets, or issuing transnational or international arrest warrants on fabricated charges. So this is a daily reality for countless of dissidents, journalists, and activists. Transnational repression undermines the very foundations of the OSCE Parliamentary Assembly, security, cooperation, and the respect for human rights, of course. It turns international institutions meant to fight crime into tools of political persecution. So at the heart of this threat is the abuse of Interpol's red notices and diffusions. Designed for genuine law enforcement, these tools are increasingly hijacked by authoritarian regimes to pursue critics abroad under the guise of terrorism, treason, or economic crimes, sometimes other charges as well. Interpol's own rules forbid political abuse, yet weak oversight allows chronic offenders to exploit the system with impunity. The result is restricted travel, damaged reputations, of course, unexpected detentions, and a climate of fear that silences voices even in free societies, in the free world. So, as a member of the Swedish Parliament, a chairman of the Swedish delegation to the Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe, and of course, as a member of this OSCE Parliamentary Assembly, I've been involved with highlighting the situations in different countries, and I'm especially talking about Iran, Cuba, Venezuela, Belarus, and Russia. So we see regimes repeatedly demonstrate this dangerous pattern through both the parliamentary work and in different international forums. So first, in Iran, the Islamic Republic refuses to recognize dual or renounce citizenship and openly claims authority over its diaspora worldwide. In Sweden and across Europe, Iranian authorities harass and spy on critics. Actually, just last year, there was an assassination attempt against a good friend of mine who belongs to this diaspora. And we see how the Swedish security police, SAPO, repeatedly has been flagging Iran as a top state actor in espionage and influence operations against Swedish Iranians. We have witnessed direct threats against European parliamentarians and sophisticated cyber attacks on their offices. This extraterritorial aggression is part of a broader campaign to crush the Iranian people's legitimate demands for freedom, demands that erupted powerfully after the killing of Mahsa Amini. As I've stated in the OSCE Parliamentary Assembly before, but not least in PACE, in the Council of Europe, this is not a legitimate government, but a criminal syndicate that has turned a proud nation into a vast prison for millions of Iranians. And then we go to Russia and Belarus. They've turned transnational repression into a redefined arts. Russian authorities and proxies, including state-linked banks, aggressively pursue critics abroad with red notices, while combating lawfare and or combining lawfare and corporate raiding. Belarus complements this with its own ruthless tactics, extending repression across borders in close coordination with Moscow. And Cuba and Venezuela complete the picture of how these methods spread through authoritarian alliances. In Cuba, the regime intensifies domestic repression while extending its reach abroad. Despite European agreements and funding, genuine democratic transitions remained blocked. A contradiction we must address if we are serious about defending human rights. And especially here, I think a lot of European parliamentarians should step up and do more. In Venezuela, the regime has repeatedly issued Interpol's red notices and asset freezes against journalists, influencers, and opposition voices. So we see how people have been targeted simply for celebrating political shifts or speaking truth to power. Branded as traitors for exercising basic freedoms, this fits a wider pattern of chasing exiles and critics across borders. And then we have we do clearly see how these regimes don't act in isolation. They learn from one another. They sometimes cooperate and share tactics and form networks that export repression. The message to dissidents is quite clear: nowhere you're safe. So to get back to this question you asked me, what must the OSCE community do? I do think that we do need to reform the Interpol with stronger independent reviews, transparency, and automatic safeguards against notices from serial abusers, particularly those involving political offenses or asylum seekers. I think that we need to bolster national defenses by improving screening of red notices and better protecting exiles and diaspora communities in different ways. I think we should hold perpetrators accountable through targeted sanctions, support for international justice, and amplified platforms for victims. And then, of course, we need to show political resolve here in the OSCE Parliamentary Assembly by passing strong resolutions and turning words into coordinated action from each participating state. So the OSCE was actually born from the convention that security and human dignity are indivisible. So we cannot allow authoritarian regimes to corrupt the tools of international cooperation, because these tools are actually very important, but we need to make sure they're used in the right way. So let us stand united with the brave men and women risking everything for freedom, not least dissidents from authoritarian regimes. In Iran, Cuba, Venezuela, Belarus, Russia, and far beyond. I mean, it doesn't matter where you are. The eyes of the oppressed are upon us, so it's up to us and to actually do something. And I hope we can all, depending on or regardless of what different platforms we have, we need to work together. So thank you very much.